Welcome, everyone, to the streets of Monte Carlo. The streets of Monaco are ready for a new chapter in the history books, as is the rest of the world. For the first time in its 96-year history, the Monaco Grand Prix shares the same calendar as the Indianapolis 500, and 26 of the fastest drivers on the planet will have a chance to call themselves a winner at the end of today. Welcome, everyone, to ABN's coverage of the AT&T Champ Car World Series season. Race 18 of 24 is none other than the Tag Heuer Monaco Grand Prix. Started in 1929, the Principality has hosted the Monaco Grand Prix almost uninterrupted, except for in World War II. Its tenure, its success, its longevity is part of what's made it one of the three races in the Motorsports Triple Crown, alongside the 24 Hours of Le Mans and our own Indianapolis 500. Today, however, is unlike any other Monaco Grand Prix that we've ever seen. From 1946 until just last year, the streets of Monte Carlo were a pivotal part in the Formula One calendar and the Grand Prix World Championship. However, now it's Champ Car's turn to tackle on the French Riviera. For most drivers, this is their first time racing at Monaco. However, we do have a handful, 6 drivers to be exact, that have raced here before. Some have won, some have experienced the pain of missing out. The front row are 2 drivers that have made this field and have been successful in Monaco in the past. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, the 3-time IndyCar World Champion, is our pole sitter for this race. She won this race. She won the Monaco Grand Prix in 2014, 10 years ago, on her way to winning the 2014 Grand Prix World Championship. Can she do the same thing a decade later? She's in a good spot to try to do just that. Alongside her is a driver who's raced here 4 times, Cyril Lundqvist, making her 5th start in the Principality. On the front row in 2nd place, Lundqvist has not finished higher than 5th. She's also never qualified this high up. Her best qualifying position was 7th back in 2013. Simona Leroux is the only other active F1 winner of the Grand Prix of Monaco in the field. She starts 13th, but she won the 2015 race with Mercedes, so she knows what it's like to be successful and how to get it done in these close quarter confines. Cameron Jackson, like with Cyril Lundqvist, raced in Formula One for 4 years, although that was a little bit earlier than Lundqvist. They didn't really overlap that much. He starts 23rd, which is a bit low for him. Obviously, we know the struggles of the Dragon Motorsports team getting into this point of the season. He's got to work forward at a track that is notoriously known for its difficulty in passing on the track. Hazel Leon is the last former F1 driver in today's grid. She raced here just once last year. Did not score any points when she was racing for Alpine. She starts a lot better than she did last year. She is in row 3, starting 6th in place of the injured Kimi Kinoshita, who is a former winner, winning this race back in 2011. Finally, we have an F2 driver in this field who has been successful. Nicole Letty, our defending world champion, starts 8th. Last time she was here in 2016, she swept both the feature and the sprint race of the F2 series event here in Monte Carlo. Obviously, trying to put together a championship program, another good result is needed here today. For the other 20 drivers, though, this is a first-time experience, and it is unique on its own. They've had to learn all the twists in the challenge around this 2.08-mile circuit that we will be tackling on 78 times today. We've got the command coming up here shortly. We've talked about the starting grid. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, Cyril Lundqvist, they lead the field to green. Alicia Kovalkiewicz and Natalia Velisevich, keep an eye on them. They are in row number 2. Row 3, Sakura Shibashi and Hazel Leon. That's our top 6. Well, let's set a track side to get the party started.
Drivers, start your engines!
We've went to the top 6. Let's go through the rest of the field. It's Artyom Kozlov and Nicole Lechty in row 4, Evangeline Porter and Mia Valdez in row number 5, Elise Alexander and BK Glover in row number 6. Simona Leroux and Andrew Draco make up row 7. But that's about Leroux being a former winner here, alongside a driver who's needing another really good race in Draco. Matthias Michelin won at Monza, trying to go 2 for 3 in Europe. Can he do that from the 8th row alongside Astrid Crane? Wyatt Jones won a week ago. It's going to be hard to do again, starting from the 17th position. He's in row 9 alongside the 3rd Arrowhead racing car of Giulia Takani. Kaiki Kobayashi, not where he wants to start, 19th alongside Catherine Hart. Both of the series rookies starting in the back half of the field. Thomas Rogers, Marcus Petrovich, they're row 11. Cameron Jackson and Esther Hobson, row 12. And Mercedes van Sonen, the last to qualify yesterday. Shufa Zhang, as it was before, had a qualifying ban after an engine failure in Monza. Starts dead last in this race of 26 cars, with the Ford Raptor Pace truck leading us around here at this 2.8 mile circuit, one of the very pivotal places you cannot get wrong, the Casino Hairpin. Fortune favors the bold, and you have to be very bold to win here in Monte Carlo. There's the French Riviera in all of its majesty going now under the bridge, or through the tunnel, which is basically a bridge at this point. This is under the casino itself here in Monaco. Clear skies, sun is out. We're in for a fantastic event, and we're glad you're here with us on ABN. If you're watching from the US, good morning. If you're watching from Europe, good afternoon. Watching from Asia, good evening and good night. Through the coastal chicane there. This is where the track gets really fast and really tight. Really can't afford to make mistakes. Approaching one of the most iconic places on the track, the swimming pool section. You see a swimming pool on that lower left-hand side of your screen. Through the harbor. Just a couple corners left to go. Approaching Anthony No. No heroics in Saint Devat. But fortune favors the bold nonetheless. The pace car is in. 26 cars for the first time in Monaco Grand Prix history. It's Champ Car's turn. Porter Kelly, Lundqvist, lead us to green. The Tag Heuer Grand Prix in Monaco is underway. And immediately it is Porter Kelly with a lead, clearing Lundqvist through turn number 1. Up the hill they go. 78 laps, what they've got to do here in Monaco. Porter Kelly, Lundqvist, side by side further back for 3rd. Right now it is Velicevic over Kovalkiewicz. So Velicevic will gain a spot there on Kovalkiewicz. Ishibashi in play still over Leon as they head into the hairpin for the very first time. Behind Leon, it's Lechty and Kozlov. Then you have Mia Valdez side by side. It is Porter and Alexander. His car in the wall. Multiple cars stacked up there, and it's 4 wide further back. And that is Leroux that loses out. That was Rogers that slid into the hairpin wall for the first time. They were 3 wide, which we have not seen in a very long time here at Monaco. And Petrovich losing out big time as well. Almost certain he has something wrong there. He lost out severely under the tunnel. But everyone makes it through okay. I think at the part of me here, it was Alexander that tagged the wall first. It was not Rogers. Glover was also involved in that. Thomas Rogers is in the Reese's number 2. Way further back in the order. You're going to see right there. There's the 2 of Thomas Rogers. Just now approaching the final 2 corners of the racetrack. So he's dropped 5 spots already, down to the very last running's position. Meanwhile, Porter Kelly leads the stern. Very familiar with this racetrack, a winner in 2014, has never finished a race in Monaco off the podium. The big trouble spots, though, already taken care of, and that was lap 1. Somehow, we all kept it going. No one came down pit lane, no reports of punctures. So we stay green. Lundqvist in second place, trying to get pursuit while also trying to make sure she keeps the 7 of Velisevich in check. The Red Wall compound tires, the alternate Firestone Firehawks, give us about 20 to 24 laps here in Monte Carlo. Abrasive surface, a lot of tight corners, maximizing all the grip that you can. They're leaning on these tires severely. This is one of the most abusive tracks for tires on the calendar, especially when they're those red wall tires that you see on these cars. Very, very different than what we saw last night in the Challenger Series at Colorado. Those tires went on forever and ever and ever. Remember, these are all city streets. City streets and walk paths make up this entire racetrack. You don't say that very often about mini street circuits. Typically, at least part of them are purpose-built to handle an event like this. Monaco, though, the track's largely been unchanged its entire 96-year run. Want to see safety improvements have kept up with the years. But it is largely the same as it was, including the overlook on the harbor. Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera, a lot of different nicknames for this region. Just to the east, along the coast, is the city of Nice. One of the smallest countries in the world, the Principality of Monaco, less than a square mile in size. Only country that's smaller is Vatican City. Other principalities like San Marino are larger than this. So are Andorra and Luxembourg and Liechtenstein. A place like Monaco bears attention and attraction like no other here in Europe. Velisevich is in third. Porter Kelly has walked away so far with a pretty easy and commanding lead of this race. It has settled down just a little bit here as we start lap 4 of the Grand Prix. It's Kovalkiewicz leading Ishibashi there. That's the battle for 4th and 5th. Beginning to be a four-horse pull away from Ishibashi. Leon right behind, so the teammates there used to be teammates for Team Impulse, now teammates in Cat Devil Racing Squad. Sitting 5th and 6th, Leon. Very interesting attention on the Kiwi driver. Verizon Team Impulse bowing out of the bidding war for Hazel Leon's signature for 2025. Becomes a 3-horse race between Cat Devil Racing, who she's racing for right now, Arrowhead Racing, who's expecting to expand to 3 cars next year, and Red Bull Highlight Racing, who are swapping out somebody in place of Simon Leroux at the end of the year. Leroux taking a Rebel sponsorship, finding a new ride in the Champ Car competitions. But beyond right now, the hot hand, $3 million yearly salary is what's been mentioned for the Kiwi, the former world champion from 2021. Just ahead of the defending world champion, Nicole Leckie, who will be staying put there for Highlight Racing in that orange and white, number 78. Ryan Kozlov in 8th, first time in Monaco as a driver. Same for Mia Valdez. Never made it to Formula 1. 2014 world champion in Champ Car. Same year Porter Kelly won her Grand Prix world title in Formula 1. Valdez, a contender for this year's world title as well. Consistent results. No one more consistent, though, than Evangeline Porter. A rare slip-up. These last 2 weeks have really put Porter on the back foot. That lead is down to 1 point over Wyatt Jones going into this race following Jones's win in Valkenburg. But Porter right now sitting a very comfy 10th. Whereas Wyatt Jones a little bit further down the order. There's Alexander in 11th, Andrew Draco in 12th, Julian Takani 13th. Matthias Michelin, the Monza race winner, in 14th. Marcus Petrovich in 15th still. Simon LaRose, 16th. Wyatt Jones down in 17th place. Doesn't seem like a lot, and it genuinely isn't. That's a 7-point swing. Evangeline Porter right now sitting in 10th would score 20 points. Wyatt Jones would score 13. Makes it an 8-point gap as things run. Obviously, we're talking very early days in this race. We're only on lap 5 of 78 here in Monte Carlo. But Jones knows the pressure that is at hand. Thankfully for Wyatt Jones, the remainder of the season gets a little bit more favorable for him. And that's what he's kind of hoping he can lean on here. Obviously, oval proficient, coming from the NAMRA Cup Series. He's the first driver from the NAMRA Cup Series that's ever raced in Monaco. So he's already made that history book there. Obviously, winning at Indianapolis back in May, the immediate question mark was, could Wyatt Jones develop himself enough to potentially be a factor here in Monaco? There's a lot more to that argument last week in Valkenburg. Qualifying did not favor him. He was an early exit from qualifying yesterday. The strategy has favored the bold 25 team throughout various points this season, and it very well could again here today. Strategy is the kingmaker here in Monte Carlo. The chaos continues, and it's going to be pretty chaotic. 2 weeks' time, we head to Night City for another race at the Arasaka Arena. We know how crazy last season was when Andrew Draco got his return win, and what is de facto his home track at this point. Then it's Watkins Glen, Chicagoland, Atlanta, the Grand Prix of Indianapolis on the road course there at the Brickyard, and then Fontana to end out the season. So it favors him a little bit there. I mean, look at the big ovals there. 4 ovals on the calendar, and then 2 more road courses, which have traditionally been his weak spot, but he's got 2 wins. Porter's still got none at this point. Shifan Zhang from 26th all the way up to 18th already. She's gotten around Catherine Hart. Kaiki Kobayashi sitting now in the 20th spot. Takani is in pit lane. There's reports of a puncture for the 95 team, which will put Takani pretty well down the order here. As for Crane, also had to come down pit lane, but was involved in that stack up in the hairpin on lap 1. Crane will take over his spot here. Takani down the 25th. BK Glover, who was also in the wall, was pancaked in that 4 wide situation, in 26th. Similar situation to how it was in Valkenburg just a week ago. And you look at the gap that the GOAT, Stephanie Porter-Kelly, has put on the field so far. Lundqvist, her last lap, a 1:29.326, 1:28.8 for Porter-Kelly. And Porter-Kelly has the fastest lap of this race, a 1:28.49 here in Monaco. It was a 3.2 second gap last time. We'll see what it's like across the line this time by, as you see, Vulicevic still holding a very sturdy 3rd place at this point. There's Kovalkiewicz still in 4th, Ishibashi in 5th. Pretty even spacing right now between those in the top 9. It gets a little bit more dramatic with Porter in 10th. But then you see the massive gap between Draco and Petrovic. Petrovic now sitting in the 13th position. Remember how everyone had a pretty chaotic race in Monza, and then again a chaotic race at Valkenburg last week. Not expecting to have a lot of chaos here. Obviously, we talk about how difficult it is to pass here, dirty air, obviously tight confines, all of those a factor put together here in Monte Carlo. Petrovic in a really good spot right now, especially considering he is currently very firmly in the relegation zone with a handful of races to go, coming to 6 races to go after today. So he needs all the points he can get right now if he can stay in that 13th spot, but you can tell the pace is not in that 21 car. That 21 car has completely lost touch with Andrew Draco. Both of those cars, 4-powered cars, but you see the development difference between Phantom Motors and Avante Racing. Wyatt Jones up to 15th, obviously with some cars coming down pit lane. Zhang in 16th now. Then it's Captain Hart up to 17th, Kobayashi 18th, Von Sonnen in 19th, Hobson in 20th, Cameron Jackson down in 21st position, Thomas Rogers 22nd. 4 drivers have made pit stops. You see the first one after Crane. Zaccani, the last one to make a pit stop here in 24th. Glover in 25th. Matthias Michelin has also now made a pit stop in the 26th position now. He pit from just outside the top 10. Gap has stayed steady at 3.2 seconds between Lundqvist and Porter Kelly. And caution's out. Caution has come out here, and that is an issue for Astrid Crane. That's why the caution's come out. The 80 car has blown up. No damage on the 80 car either. That is just a car that is now extremely slow going up the hill. And the Ford Raptor pace truck will collect the race leader, Stephanie Porter Kelly. While the field is allowed to catch back up, Astrid Crane will be able to safely return to pit lane with what appears to be a pure powertrain issue. We'll see, we'll get clarification on what this issue is for Crane once that car is returned to pit lane and the Rosgreaves Racing Squad can keep up. Not a great look, though, for Crane. He was looking to capitalize on the momentum that she has really earned here on the European Tour. Porter Kelly will lead the field to pit lane down here in Monaco. Very easy to assume after 10 laps that drivers will put on a fresh set of Firestone Firerock tires. For the first time today for Astrid Crane. Astrid Crane returning to pit lane, just now getting around the swimming pool section here. Down pit lane, Crane will come. No, actually, Crane just tagged the exit of pit lane. That's going to be a problem if they try to come down pit lane. They got to get that car moved quickly. Pace speed very slow, 40 miles an hour. So hopefully they've got time now. They're just now going through the swimming pool section. Everyone coming down pit lane now. The pit boxes here. Really sharp turn in there. You see a little bit of contact there between Leroux and Draco, but everyone got to their boxes. That's the most important part. Porter Kelly, first one out. Very quick stops. Slow stop there, though, for Kovalkiewicz. An issue, gearbox issue for Mia Valdez. Mia Valdez with some sort of gearbox issue. That was as soon as she launched from pit box. You can watch the smoke billow. Artem Kozlov. Looks like they've discovered an issue on that 3 car, so Kozlov will drop down the order 2. see. There's Valdez. Trouble for the 34. And Valdez's first Monaco Grand Prix will end prematurely. A lot of damage on the side of that car, too. I wonder if that's related. I'm going to let the field go ahead and go by. Welcome to Monaco, unfortunately, for Mia Valdez. Smoke just went out on that 34. Is 34 trying to get back in line? Whatever the issue was, the smoke's gone. What is going on with Mia Valdez's car? We're getting ready to go back to green. The lights on the pace car, I believe, are off. And they are off. Yeah, we're going to go back to green. And Mia Valdez may be trying to restart this race. We're going to find out. No, Valdez will come down pit lane, which is the sensible thing to do. Portichelli, Lundqvist, Velicevic, top three. For the first restart of the race, we're back underway here in Monaco. Chance to re-rack them and try again. Have one close still. Up the hill we go. Kozlov's still in pit lane. Valdez back on pit lane, but not immediately out of this race. They're going to try to repair that car and see what's going on with the 34. Unfortunately, Artem Kozlov also still on pit lane. Immediately opening a gap here on Lundqvist. But Lundqvist not under threat from Velicevic or from Ishibachi up in fourth. Both of the technical racing cars still without harm in the top five. Lechty up to sixth. Kovalkiewicz lost a few spots from fourth down to seventh. Porter up to eighth. Alexander in ninth. Andrew Draco now in the top 10 here in his first trunk time in Monaco. Takani up to 11th. Marcus Petrovic put him in 12th. He's gotten around Simon on the row. That was a pass in St. Devat on the restart. Von Sonnen also got around Kobayashi, so some passing happening in the mid-pack there in turn one last time through. Michelin in 16th still. Cameron Jackson and Thomas Rogers, they both got around Wyatt Jones. So Wyatt Jones kind of skunked on that one down in 19th place. Esterhofsen in 20th, and there goes the three of Artem Kozlov on the pit exit. Unfortunately, a lap down now. Mia Valdez back out on track though. And I believe this keeps Mia Valdez on the lead lap. So big time deal as Portichelli continues to lead the Monaco Grand Prix. She's led all 12 laps so far in this race. We're on lap 13. That one caution, that was for the mechanical issues from Astrid Crane, who is out of this race and currently our only retirement in this race. Unfortunately for Artem Kozlov, they are now a lap down, which will really hinder their chances to try to be successful here in Monte Carlo. without needing a little bit of help. Car, I believe, leaving pit lane. Have to double check here. Who is that down pit lane? See if we can get a good look here for you. Thought we saw a car down pit lane, but might be wrong on that. I was wondering if it was Mia Valdez that had returned to pit lane. It's not. Mia Valdez is still right there. And there's Xipeng Zhang, who is in 23rd now. That is still rolling around here. Porticelli leads the way by 1.6 seconds. Last time by over Cyril Lundqvist. Porticelli in a 128.7. Lundqvist 129.2. So it seems like Porticelli is able to get those tires fired up a lot quicker than the Super Swede. Vulesovic in third. Having to try to just keep toe with Lundqvist. Try to strategize a way forward and around the 97. Vulesovic, a race winner this year as well from Denver. Ishibashi is behind a race winner this season from Mid-Ohio. Car in pit lane, Thomas Rogers. We did see that flash of orange on pit lane. In 6th, Kovalkiewicz in 7th, the top 10 largely staying consistent here at this point. There he is. Thomas Rogers back out on track. Porticelli still leading this race. I've set an almost new fastest lap at 128.5 for Porticelli. Lundqvist has not broken into the 128 since we've gone back racing. 129.1 her last lap, so losing a fair bit of time to the three-time world champion. But pulling on Vulesovic. Vulesovic hasn't really had an answer for Lundqvist or Porticelli. Has not been really a hassle for either of them in the early stage of this race on lap 15. And that could be a problem because Sakura Ishibashi is 100% posing a threat to the 7th as they roll through Anthony No. Should be a very interesting fight for the podium places last time around. 129.2 for Vulesovic. Last time around there, 129.0 for Lundqvist. So Lundqvist beginning to build up speed, is still losing 0.5 of a second per lap right now to the race leader. Ishibashi 129.2. So identical lap times as you would imagine being this close between Vulesovic and Ishibashi. Importantly though, Vulesovic is losing touch with Lundqvist. As they roll around Principality. Vulesovic down the hill into chicane here. Just trying to see where Vulesovic is losing out here to both Lundqvist and Porticelli. He's not losing out much to Lundqvist, only missing out a couple tenths. That might be a spot, the exit of the swimming pool section of the racetrack here. Didn't seem to be very tight on the exit. .128.9, no, new personal best for Vulesovic. Not quite race best. 128.9, 129.0. So Vulesovic got the right way of that last lap. Porticelli still in the 128.6s at the moment. Clean air, clean skies. Can't lose when you're in that position for Porticelli. With to take a lot of interference for that to be a factor. And we know the champ car is going to be a place where you see the interference, and this is Monaco, where you can get trapped pretty quickly. So entering that point of the race, where everyone's on about the same level playing field, give or take, for Porter Kelly be a little bit more favorable. To explain how normal passing works versus how the passing here at Monaco works, the normal rule of thumb to be able to catch up to a car, pass a car, and then complete the pass and get out of danger, you have to have about a second advantage per lap on the car that you're fighting with. Whether it's, you know, like in this case, Ishibashi on Vulesovic on Lundqvist, so on and so forth. That's normal scenario. Like, we're talking like that's at like Watkins Glen, Road America, Barber Motorsports Park, Mid Ohio, Bennings Trade, Denver. That's the typical rule of thumb. At Monaco, you need more near a 2.5 second advantage on the car in front of you, because you have such a limited time frame before you get to the big dive bomb areas. You look at turn 1, you look at turn 8, you look going into that chicane on the back straightaway after the tunnel, you look at Anthony Nogue if you want to be very bold. There's only a couple premier passing zones around this racetrack, and you have to have such an overlap on the car in front to be able to make that pass happen. You typically only really see that when you've got someone on fresh tires taking on someone on older tires, which we have not seen yet being this early in the race. But the risk factor to being able to make a pass happen is a lot higher here in Monaco than it is anywhere else. Even last week at Valkenburg, we know how messy Valkenburg can be. It's a lot easier to make passes happen there in the Netherlands than it is here in Monaco. Seeing two very different type of street courses over these last two races. And in 2 weeks' time, we get to go back on the ovals, beginning with the Stadium Tour in Night City. Vulesovic closing in a little bit on Lundqvist here. That orange and blue, number 97, a lot closer for Vulesovic to try to manage, try to shadow. 129.3 for Vulesovic last time around, 129.4 for Lundqvist, 129.0 for Porter Kelly, who now has lap traffic and is that of Mia Valdez. He was still in this race. 2 cars a lap down. It is Artyom Kozlov and Shufin Zhang. Mia Valdez could very well become the third. Her last lap, a 133.5. And we're going to see what we're talking about here with Porter Kelly having that advantage. 4 seconds in reality is the advantage on that Porter Kelly has on Valdez. And you're going to see how difficult it is to make a pass happen here in Monte Carlo. See Porter Kelly really close to winning the race in Valkenburg. And you see, couldn't make it happen there. Now has to wait until after the swimming pool. And this is going to really shake up and hurt Porter Kelly's lead that she established. She was up to a 3.6 second lead on Lundqvist. That is gone. Front straightaway. And after Anthony Nogue, now we're on the run to St. Devat. And Porter Kelly still not able to make a move. Mia Valdez, obviously lap cars allowed to battle to stay on the lead lap. And that's where Valdez is at right now, up the hill, overlooking the Riviera, overlooking the harbor. Valdez is going to be a treat for Lundqvist, but now Lundqvist is going to be in trouble too, because Lundqvist will also be in this traffic jam. All it took was one lap. Porter Kelly looking, approaching the hairpin, approaching the casino hairpin on the outside. That's how desperate you have to be to try to make a pass, and it still did not work. That is how desperate you have to be. And now here comes Porter Kelly, making sure Valdez got out of the way, and making sure that Lundqvist didn't follow through. But that gap was evaporated immediately. Lundqvist, bold, inside, not working there. And this is where it becomes really treacherous because Velicevic does not have to cut Lundqvist any breaks. This is a battle for second place on the racetrack. And Valdez is the pressure valve right now that the entire field will have to get around at some point across this 2-mile lap. Percy St. Devat not going there. And just like that, Portichelli is now back in control. What does Lundqvist do? What does Velicevic do? And Ishibashi, who's now in the fray. How bold do you get? Lundqvist not quite that bold. Still gave it a look. I think realistically they're gonna have to try to pass Valdez out of the tunnel. That seems to be where the biggest deficiency in speed is for Valdez in the tunnel. With how slow Valdez is getting out of the corner there, would have to believe that it might be a gearbox issue that we saw Valdez suffering with coming to green on that restart. But the Lundqvist has gotten through. But it is not really a close gap anymore. I think we're going to see a gap a little bit larger than 3.6 seconds when they cycle back on through this time. And Velicevic is now going to be part of the kicking and screaming behind 34. All it takes is one really aggressive move further on down the order for this to really get shaken up. Velicevic looked to the outside there in St. Devat. Nothing going, but tried a different approach. And look at how close Ishibashi is, how close Leon is, and Lechty. Velicevic a lot more aggressive, but there goes Ishibashi. Back for position into the hairpin. Oh, really tight spot there. Ishibashi holding on. And that's going to give Velicevic a lot of headache now, trying to take on Valdez through the tunnel in time for the chicane. Because Valdez was able to get to the apex under the tunnel. So Ishibashi getting impatient. Whoa! Look at Hazel Leon around Ishibashi. Leon got through. A move through the chicane just got Leon into the 4th spot. What a move by Leon, taking on her teammate there in Ishibashi and succeeding. And Velicevic still struggling behind Valdez at this point, and now you know that Hazel Leon's a scrapper, and so is Ishibashi. Tried to ride up against the Armco. Now approaching Mirabeau. Velicevic really scrambling to try to get a pass on Valdez. This is for the 3rd spot, and everyone's in it. Around Portier now. And under the tunnel towards the Novell chicane. Oh, Velicevic had to go sweeping to the outside. Valdez not giving any quarter. All 3 captain racing cars in your screen. 1 a lap down. The other 2 trying to get to the podium spot. Currently held by Natalia Velicevic, as the top 2 have waltzed away. It is 5 seconds between Portichelli and Lundqvist. It is 6 seconds and counting between Lundqvist and Velicevic. through Ascas, and now Anthony Nog. Down the pit straight towards Saint-Devat. Oh, on the outside. There you go. Pass made into Saint-Devat for Vulicevic, and now up Beau Rivage to Massenet. There goes Vulicevic. And teammates, how quickly they work together now. Obviously, hard passing, even when you're trying to coordinate it. And you see, not hard for Hazel Leon to get quarter on Valdez. Ishibashi will have similar after the hotel hairpin. There's the release valve for Cat Devil Racing. Didn't let Ishibashi through. I was very surprised by that. Saint-Devat again. Ishibashi with a good chance. There's Alicia Kovalkiewicz in this mix as well. Kovalkiewicz got around Lecty on that lap. See the checkup has really brought the entire field, minus those in the top four, really back together. Wyatt Jones down in 22nd, having to make a pit stop after colliding with the barriers. A light wall tap there, forcing a pit stop to make sure that there wasn't any long-term damage for the 22. Shufeng Zhang now in pit lane, has been in pit lane for 7 laps with some sort of mechanical issue. It has not been a DNF, but Shufeng Zhang now very handicapped on the route that she can take forward here in Monaco. As we start lap 26, it is Porter Kelly with a storming lead, 6.1 seconds at this point, thanks to the lap traffic that has held up Siri Lundqvist. And now, most recently, by 9 seconds, Natalia Vulicevic, who has a mountain to climb and multiple figures here. Hazel Leon got clear. Here comes Ishibashi around the outside of Saint-Devat. And up and through. That's 5th place for Ishibashi. Now well and truly, you can say almost secure at this point. Leon trying to chase down Vulicevic for that 3rd spot. Remember, we are going to have lap traffic here. And caution has come out. Caution has come out, I believe it's for Cameron Jackson. What has happened to the 19 car? We'll have to double check. No! Actually, no, excuse me. Those are cars that passed the start-finish line after the caution had already come out. Wyatt Jones will go around the pace car here to the inside. I believe Cameron Jackson, see if we can figure out, he came down pit lane. I mean, he was in pit lane anyway when the yellow was out. What happened to the 19 of Cameron Jackson here? Obviously, Shufeng Zhang with a lot of issues. 9 laps down at this point. This is in the giant group behind Mia Valdez. What happens here? Obviously, you saw this pass here between Kovalkiewicz and Lechty. These two have been really battling it out. But it's, again, all been behind the 34 of Valdez. As they roll around the swimming pool. Oh, that is an issue with Cameron Jackson. He came to nearly a stop here. Oh, big time nearly a stop. Oh, 100% a stop here. So yeah, that's why the caution came out. Another issue, and that's another Honda. So that's why the yellow came out. So second caution, another reliability issue here, which means we're going to have a very interesting restart once again for the second time. This time it was Cameron Jackson coming to a stop at the entry to pit lane. It seemed like he was back out and running, and there he is. Very tail end of the field here. Schuffenjang still on pit lane at this point. And look at this. Look who stays out. Siri Lundqvist stays out. And there's not many that will stay out here. A few do. Valdez, who's not on the lead lap. You got Kovalkiewicz. You've got Lechty, who stays out. So two of the Arrowhead cars stay out here. Lechty stays out. And that's it. Porticelli will re-inherit fourth place. Car still in pit lane. That is Leon. Leon's still on pit lane. Not good for the Cadillac Racing Camp. One of them a lap down. Leon in pit lane for a longer period of time. Not a great start. More cars coming down pit lane here. These were those that were not a lap down, but had to come down pit lane and take care of stuff during that green flag run. For me, Cameron Jackson, who just topped off with fuel there, stayed on the lead lap. Wyatt Jones will gain some spots there. There goes Thomas Rogers and Esther Hofson. Hazel Leon still on pit lane. Other cars working on getting back out on track with Kobayashi. That's Glover, Michelin, Captain Hart. And Kozlov also still on pit lane. Now moving. So issues for Hazel Leon and Schuffenjang. They've moved out of the way to get a little bit more space to work on that car. So we're getting ready to go back green here, and it's going to be Siri Lundqvist now in control of the race with the immediate buffer between herself and her teammate there, Mia Valdez. Those top four stayed out here. So Lundqvist has a lot of favor right now, but remember, everyone behind Lechty is on fresh tires. So if we're going to see an overlap, that 2.5 second difference, it could happen here. Green flag flies. Here we go. Lechty wasting no time. We look to the outside in St. Devant. And to the outside she goes, only to be roadblocked immediately by the 34 of Valdez, and side by side they go up the hill. Lecty to second, Porter Kelly to third. Kovalkiewicz got caught out. As they come around the bend here on lap 28. This is where trouble kind of brews just a little bit. That's Alexander on the outside, Porter to the inside, side by side, through the Grand Casino, the Grand Hotel hairpin. Now on the harbor. Side by side still. Side by side. Porter gets the advantage there. Really good move by Porter to get around. That is for the 7th spot. Porter was trying to hold on to it and did. Still frustrating Kovalkiewicz is Valdez. Top 5 all got clear. Here comes the top 2 that did not pit. Very strange call for them. Esther Hofson on pit lane. You saw that pink number 28. So these two sticking with their original fuel number. And that gives Porter Kelly the race lead right back. Although now there's no Lundqvist in the equation. It is just Porter Kelly and Velicevic who battled it out in Denver. Now it's Porter Kelly with the advantage. A little bit further back. There you go. I believe that's because Valdez also came in. Valdez, one of those that did not pit under that last caution, came in that time. That gives Porter a really good quarter as well at the moment as things sit. Wyatt Jones, a little further down the running, was 15th across the line that time. He'll gain some spots. He'll gain 3. So he moves to 12th. There's Kobayashi. There's Glover, Michelin, Captain Hart. And there's Lundqvist back out on the racing surface. So is Lecty. There's Artyom Kozlov. Still a full 1 lap down. Kovalkiewicz back on track as well. Ahead of Leroux. Leroux on lead lap as well in the 20th spot. You have Valdez and Hazel Leon. Leon still on the lead lap, to her credit. But I believe that car is not the way it was. I believe there is contact with Leon. And you see the skid marks in the turn 1. That would indicate where that might have taken place. Porter Kelly back out in the clear. And now back out to a 1.3 second lead, having led 29 laps in this race. There's a lap down. We have several now. Kozlov, Leon, Valdez. Hofson is 2 laps down now. And Shufan Jang is 13 laps down. Marathon race. We've had 2 cautions, both of them single car incidents, and it's been reliability issues for Crane and for Cameron Jackson most recently. That was on lap 26. Porter Kelly in the clear. Across the line, 128.6. Back to the normal speeds for the 47-time race winner. Go up the hill towards the casino. It is on Velicevic to try to match. That is Stephanie Porter Kelly here in Monaco. Portier, and now under the tunnel once again for the 32nd time of 78 laps here in Monaco. Lap 33 for Kelly. Opening the gap up a little bit. Velicic keeping honest as much as possible. 128.9 versus 128.9 for the top two. Ishibashi running about the same pace. 129.0. 128.9 for Porter. 129.2 for Alexander, though. That's where the speed begins to drop off. 129.5 for Takani. 129.7 for Draco. 131 for Petrovic. 134 for Von Soden. 130.6 for Cameron Jackson. Obviously, those right behind Jackson will also be carrying that similar pace as well. So wide spread in the pace. Lecty up to 129.4. Remember, these cars heavier on the fuel, but also fresher tires. Austin still pit lane, so is Shupin Zhang. Poor Kelly trying to stay on an island at this point. Another 128.6 for Porter Kelly. Consistency at its finest right there. 129.2, so Velicic really fell off that last lap. 128.6 for Ishibashi, so Ishibashi matching the race leader. Porter, Evangeline Porter not quite as strong as her older sister there. 129.1. 129.2 for Alexander. 129.2 for Takani. And Draco struggling. 129.7. 130.2 for Petrovic. Let's get to the point where those red wall tires beginning to fall apart just a little bit. It's about how you manage them here. And Porter Kelly obviously has some of the most veteran experience in the field, not only in managing these tires, but managing tires at this racetrack. Overlooking the Mediterranean. Where Porter Kelly normally shines. She's been so close, but so far away on strategy calls throughout the season. Last week was painful pill to swallow. In Michigan, when she won, she dominated. Right now, she has dominated this race. She has led all but one lap of this race. Starting lap 35, she has led 33 of 34 laps completed. Cyril Lundqvist led that one lap before coming down pit lane. Dragon Motorsports, it is a story that gets from bad to worse with Hofson and Shufin Zhang. Still on pit lane, Shufin Zhang now 17 laps down and counting. One for Porter Kelly, so first time she's been in the 129 since the restart. Velicic 128.9, so beginning to find that pace again as it ebbs and flows. sitting in third, a little bit more distant. The top two matching each other's lap times. Ishibashi, a little faster than both. I feel there's going to be a tipping point where all three of these cars are going to be really close to each other, down for a spot. It's a question if things stay as they are, will they be battling for the race lead by the time we get to that point? Down the order here. There's Hazel Leon, a lap down. Same with her teammate Mia Valdez, who are not far apart from each other at this point. Front of the road, 20th, the last car on the lead lap. Watching some of the cars just ahead of her. This is Alicia Kovalkiewicz trying to get around Artyom Kozlov, who is the first car a lap down and struggling to do so, entering the hotel hairpin. Lefty though and Lundqvist trying to set sail here. Both of them matching leaders' lap times here. But they have traffic ahead that are running significantly slower, and the 131s are all of these cars right now. Kobayashi, Glover, Michelin, Captain Hart, all of them in the 131s following Kobayashi in the pace that he is directing. Wyatt Jones ahead of that, and safely so in 12th, but not doing much to hold on to the race leader's pace in the 130.6s. Unless you're talking about the race leaders being in the low 129s. Well, Wyatt Jones almost 2 seconds slower a lap at this point. Thomas Rogers not much better. Cameron Jackson the slowest of three. And look at Anastasius von Sonen. Talk about a much needed result if he can hold on to this. This is a 9th place result for von Sonen to try to keep his Champ Car World Series ambitions alive for 2025. Petrovich in 8th. Draco in 7th right now. Takani up in 6th. Alexander in top 5. So pretty shuffled up field at the moment as things sit here in Monaco. You're almost to the halfway point here in the Grand Prix. Halfway point is the end of lap 39. You're on lap 38 now, and Porticelli continues to hold on to about a 2-second lead here in Monaco. It's Porticelli, Vilicevic, and Ishibashi. We're going to step aside for a brief moment for word from our sponsors here at the TAG Heuer Grand Prix of Monaco. Live on ABN. You're not going to want to go anywhere. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the TAG Heuer Grand Prix of Monaco. Car is on pit lane. Wyatt Jones getting service at this point after tagging New Ball a second time. You see him, that red, yellow, and white car. His day going from bad to worse here in Monte Carlo. And it's Stephanie Porticelli, though, that is still leading this event. She's led all but one lap so far. 41 laps led, coming to take 42 laps led as she completes lap 43. Suri Lundqvist, the other race leader, who's led a single lap at this point. It is a 2.4 second gap between Porticelli and the person in second place at the moment, Natalia Vilicevic. Mia Valdez, lap traffic has really helped spread the field out just a little bit more. Valdez laps down at the moment, 2 laps down to be precise. Same with Hazel Leon. That is Valdez's teammate, Ishibashi, just behind. We're interested to see how that plays out here. Is Evangeline Porter in 4th, knowing that Wyatt Jones has been having troubles here in Monaco. It is a breath of fresh air for Porter, who saw the points gap after Valkenburg shaved down to one singular point. Now, Porter's not out of the woods. A race win would be very helpful. A podium would be fantastic. Porter's only had 1 this season. But knowing that Wyatt Jones' consistency has been a talking point, whereas Porter's has been largely unfathomable, a fourth place would be par for the course. And looking at this little conversation we have going on here between Valdez and Ishibashi is very interesting. Mia Valdez is a free agent going into next year, going into 2025. That was not announced, but paperwork indicates that that is the case. Teams, if they're renewing drivers, have to have a deadline to submit paperwork. Before they become restricted free agents. Valdez now officially restricted free agent on the market at the moment as things stand. That deadline is passed. Valdez not being signed up for a new deal. So that gives Cat Racing potentially 2 open cars that they have to fill next year. They have the 32 currently being filled by Leon, who they're trying to re-sign. We don't know if Ginny Kenosha is going to actually come back. Talks from her camp say that she might be done as a full-time Champ Car driver as the caution has come out for the 3rd time. Whoa, trouble. That is Lundqvist and that is Catherine Hart. What has happened here? Trouble between these two, and these two were following each other. This may have been Lundqvist being a little bit too brave. And that'll hurt the 97 a lot, especially where the 76 is right now. Now the 80 is out of this race. The 20 has not rejoined the track. Neither has the 28. But that hurts the 97 in comparison to the 76 and the 21, who were in that relegation fight. That will not help the 97 in the slightest. Let's see what happens here. This is through the Grand Hotel hairpin. That is Lechty just behind, who is going to have a really good shot at this. Through Portier, under the tunnel. And is this trouble for Captain Hart, or is this trouble for Lundqvist on the brakes? We're going to find out here. It happens on this lap, and Lundqvist is not super close to Captain Hart at the moment. So something's got to happen here at 31. Oh, this is what happened. Captain Hart had an issue, and and Lechty did get involved. Captain Hart was trying to swoop around the outside, had an issue or went offline, and there's just not enough space there with the speed that they're carrying to try to make something happen. So we picked up on it as it had just happened. Obviously, Lechty gets a piece of it, but still looks okay. Cars were on pit lane at that time, including our race leader, Porter Kelly, who is right here now, behind Anastasius von Soden. Now, Porter Kelly, making that pit stop under green, will re-inherit the race lead here on this caution. She won't need to come back down pit lane. This does give Sakura Ishibashi a bonus point for leading a lap, though. Pit stops had begun at that point. Captain Hart's race officially over, which is not surprising given the impact that Captain Hart had if her race wasn't already done with how much he slowed going through the swimming pool section. It is clear now. So that's only officially our second retirement of the race. Hobson and Zhang still on pit lane. And not officially retired. There's a chance they can come back out and finish this race. BK Glover now officially out with a brake failure. Something that we don't see very often because we don't see them on the brakes as often as they are here at Monaco. BK Glover, brakes failure in the 6 car. Luckily, he's been able to make it to pit lane in time before it got completely out of hand. I believe this is going to be, and Porter Kelly signaling that she might be coming back down pit lane. She might have a loose wheel. No, she's just trying to stay out of the way. So Leon had come down pit lane. She stays out. Porter Kelly, the race leader of this race now, will also stay out, as will Natalia Velisova, who pit with Porter Kelly. So these two pit together and will lead the field to green together. Marcus Petrovich, I believe, is going to inherit third. This is going to be very interesting for Marcus Petrovich, looking for his first career podium while being heavily in the relegation zone. Just like Valkenburg last week, this could really flip things upside down. So 3 cars out. Glover with a brake failure. Cavanagh with an accident. Astor Crane with mechanical failure, which we've not got clarification on. I see Crane also ended up in the wall trying to get back to pit lane earlier in this race. So 3 official retirements. 2 cars in pit lane with mechanical failure, with mechanical issues. I can't really say failures because they're not officially out of this race, but mechanical issues on their own. Speaking of which, there is Hobson. Hobson is back out on the racetrack in that 28 car. So one of those cars, as we mentioned, on the racetrack, and that is pivotal right now. But it looks like trouble there still. Whatever that issue is for the 28, it has not been resolved. Or the 28 might be letting the field go by. Not normal in this circumstance. Whoa, no! That's Leroux. Leroux in trouble. Leroux in trouble in the tunnel. And the caution will be extended. Leroux stricken in the tunnel. For some unknown reason, Simona Leroux has come to a stop. It will need to be recovered. So reliability being an absolute factor, an absolute menace at this point. See if Siri Lundqvist still running, but with damage on that 97 car. Cameron Jackson still running at this point in 17th. There's Mia Valdez, 2 laps down. Sorry, now 1 lap down. Got a lap back. Sitting in 20th place. Kozlov and Valdez a lap down. Leon 2 laps down. Esther Hobson, we saw on track once again, 16 laps down. And Chippendale still on pit lane. Lights out on the pace car once again. We're going to try to go back to green this time to to begin lap 49. The race leader is the 60 of Stephanie Porter-Kelly. Then it's Belisevich and then Marcus Petrovic. Ahead of Sakura Ishibashi. Ahead of Alicia Kovalkiewicz and Julia Takani. We have 17 cars on the lead lap. From Porter-Kelly down to Von Sonnen. Leon 1 lap down, trying to stay 1 lap down here. After being pinned behind the pace car. That puts 4 cars a lap down right now. Although we don't know the status of Simona Leroux, if that 77 car can return to the racetrack or not. Obviously, we know that Esther Hofson is on the racetrack once again. We saw that pink BWT car running around finally after extensive repairs. 2 of the Dragon Motorsports cars really struggling. Third restart of this race, coming to 30 laps to go. Here in the Tag Heuer Monaco Grand Prix, away we go. And it was no wasted effort for Porter-Kelly to get around the 32 of Leon, the wounded car there. And here we go. Now it's on Petrovic to not falter under the pressure. And they are stacked up behind. Here comes Kovalkiewicz and Takani, teammates there for Arrowhead Racing on the outside. Trying to find a way around the 32 of Hazel Leon. The roadblocks continue for the Kent Double Racing cars. Petrovic trying to drive around the outside of Leon. Usually it doesn't happen here. It will not happen this time, not through Portier. And here we go, side by side through Portier. Contact between Takani and Ishibashi. Petrovic gets around Leon. And Takani loses the bout on Ishibashi. Side by side now with Petrovic. Seth Petrovic side by side with Kobayashi, the other Vontae Racing car. Petrovic got clear of Leon. Kovalkiewicz, Ishibashi, Takani did not. Here they go. And Ishibashi in the wall, trying to get around Leon. And now pit lane, and that's pit lane for Kovalkiewicz as well. And oh, trouble. Cameron Jackson, Esther Hofson, that's Lechty, that's Lundqvist. Is that caution out? It will be now. Trouble once again. Hofson, Lechty spun around. Cameron Jackson in the wall a second time. And the caution is out again. And that is trouble. Everyone trying to stack up here. Race leader on this lap will have to come back to the pace car. They're racing back to the caution. Petrovic still holding firm in third. Ishibashi got clear for fourth. Takani now in the top 5. Then it's Kobayashi. Then it's Michelin. Then it's Alexander. Then it's Rogers. Then it's Jones. Cars all over the place. Porter was one of the first ones to cross start finish line after the caution came out. And it has been a ragtag race there. Esther Hofson in a lot of trouble here in the epicenter of it all. Both of the Dragon Motorsports cars on the racetrack involved here. Let's see what happens here between the 26th, the 19, and the rest of this group. We know the 78's also involved in this. We're just trying to figure out why. Very quickly under our 4th caution of the race. We saw Leroux back out on the racetrack as well, so the 77 did get back out on track. This is the hotel hairpin. Through Portier. Side by side. Jackson gets through here. So what happens that forces Jackson into this mess? It's clear Hobson. Hobson not seeming terribly slow, just really slow off the launch, or maybe coordinated to try to get Jackson away from Lundqvist. But it all really unfolds here in the late going, approaching Raskas. Oh, and this is why, because there was trouble early. And there's trouble with Wyatt Jones. So this is where it all kicks off. This is where... So there's a lot more to this. Wyatt Jones gets turned. Around the swimming pool. Oh, Alexander in a lot of trouble too. So Alexander in trouble. Oh, Kobayashi missed the apex completely and tagged the wall, and Wyatt Jones bounces off. So that's where all of this spawns together. Michelin squeaks through, but this is where it stacks everyone up. Cameron Jackson, obviously, he gets spun around big time there. And obviously, they're all trying to get through Anthony Nogue. You can't put 3 cars around this racetrack and get away with it very often. It barely worked on lap 1. Definitely not going to happen now. So a lot of cars will be coming down pit lane here, I would have to believe, at this point. Artyom Kozlov will be one of those that doesn't. We'll see who all does come down pit lane, or who doesn't. I guess it would be easier to keep track of here. It will be, that is the 7 of Ilicevic, that's Petrovic, Takani, Alexander, and Kozlov that all stay out, and Lundqvist. And it looks like Portica is going to get Lundqvist out of pit lane, it looks like. So pretty big move there. Porter also stayed out. All 3 Arrowhead cars stayed out here. Looking through. Takani, Lundqvist, and Kovacevic all stayed out. Porticelli just had a really good pit stop and got ahead of everyone else. But it will be Natalia Vulicevic that will lead the field of green. For our 4th restart of the race. Only 3 retirements, none from that incident. Somehow, some way. However, we are down to 16 cars on the lead lap. Cameron Jackson, the last of those, in the lead lap running at this point. Green flag flies once again. Vulicevic leads the way over Petrovic and Takani now, with Alexander in 4th. Here goes a move. That is Porticelli getting around Artyom Kozlov. Does Lundqvist do the same? Yes! Lundqvist does do the same. And they are too wide further behind as well. Everyone trying to get around. That is the 32 of Leon still. Approaching the Grand Hotel hairpin. Everyone trying to make their moves here on this restarts. Very precious time. You have to spin really close together. Lehti still on pit lane as well, so Lehti's race not going well. Now leading this race. We'll try to do so, knowing that Porticelli is right now stuck in the 5th spot with 3 cars in between. Right now sitting in the runner-up spot. How much can that change here in the next 24 laps? That's 1 pit stop. That's a 1 pit stop race from here. Alexander in 4th, Porticelli in 5th. Lundqvist 6th. Dancing Porter up to 7th. Ishibashi in 8th, Kovalkiewicz in 9th, 10th is Michelin, 11th is Draco still, but you see the damage on his car. Rogers in 12th, Kobayashi 13th, Wyatt Jones in 14th, Cameron Jackson 15th, last car running. Nicole Lehti officially out of this race. Another case of brake failure, this time to 78. Lisevic trying to really put a stamp on the season with a 2nd win in the season. Right now a commanding lead because Petrovic just does not have the pace to keep touch. And that much we know is very clear at this point. Connie find a way around Petrovic here. Both of them are not really had a lot of that lightning pace we've seen from the front runners. Porter Kelly obviously stuck now 4th car in line and will make this very difficult. We know how difficult it is because Lundqvist is still keeping up with Porter Kelly, and you see the damage on that front wing. Lundqvist is not at 100%, but still sitting in the top 6, and comfortably so, ahead of Evangeline Porter. And here we go. Porter actually under the threat of being passed there by LaRoe. Back on racetrack, fresh tires there for the 77. And the threat. Pass there a little further back. That is Von Sonen getting around Kobayashi. Not a position battle. Von Sonen 4 laps down after spending extensive time on pit lane after being involved in one of the incidents in this race. So not where he wants to be at the moment. Wyatt Jones also would be aware at this point that Porter is not 100%, but still sitting pretty far up the road with 22 laps to go. laps to go is where we're at right now. That's where the race leader is at the moment. Velisevich has pulled away by about 6 seconds over Marcus Petrovich, who is looking for the best finish of his Champ Car career. Now he needs to hold on ahead of Takani, ahead of Alexander, Porticelli, and Lundqvist. While also acknowledging that there is still a pit stop left in this race. Pull away from Takani at the moment, staying really close together though. Almost a separate fight altogether. This is not even close. This is 30 seconds away from the race leader right now. That's where Porter's at right now. This car very far from 100% for the 81, but trying to do enough to hold on to a top 10 spot, sitting in 7th right now. What happens here. I think pit stops have begun just a little bit early. This Michelin one of those that came down pit lane. There he is out of pit lane now. So he pits early, trying to get that clean track position, and you're going to see more drivers do that as this goes along. Everyone trying to get into some clean real estate so they can pick up some time. Look at the 96. That's Kovalkiewicz fighting her way around. Ishibashi. Can she get clear? No, not clear. Now heading towards the swimming pool. Will stay Ishibashi out of Kovalkiewicz, but behind Porter. More cars in pit lane. Petrovich in pit lane. Lundqvist in pit lane, and others. So now this is Takani's chance to try to do an overcut with the clean air. Takani now in the race lead as well. Vulisevich also coming down pit lane. Puts these three cars out in front for the moment. Again, remember, Vulisevich had a pretty extensive lead on Vulisevich and company. So this is mostly for second place to see if any of them can leapfrog on the overcut compared to that of the 21 of Petrovic. Try to get the 21 car off the podium. Kelly pit under the last caution, so she can go longer than these cars in front of her. Question is, do you want to at this point? There's Vulisevich. Running on track, still looking pretty safe at this point. Porter's come down pit lane. Do believe, and that is the case, yes. And there's where Petrovic is right now, behind Kovalkiewicz and behind Ishibashi, who also have pit stops coming soon for them. Getting very close now to 10 laps there. We're coming to 14 to go at the line. That's where we're going to be standing here on this race. Again, right now there's not a question that it will be Vulisevich that grabs the race lead here. Here comes all the top three coming in early. So that will give the lead of the race back over to Vulisevich easily. The question is, where does Petrovic cycle through? There he is right now, approaching the swimming pool area. Is it enough for Petrovic to potentially get back into the second spot? Vulisevich in the race lead. There's Kovalkiewicz in second. Petrovic will end up potentially being back in that second spot because he's going to get ahead of all of these cars coming out of pit lane. There's Alexander, one of the first ones out of pit lane. There's Kozlov coming out of pit lane. And here we go. There's Porter Kelly coming out of pit lane. Ahead of Takani, but well and truly behind Alexander at this point. Still side by side they sit. See where Porter ends up cycling through here compared to Wyatt Jones. Kovalkiewicz currently in the second spot. It is Vulisevic's race to lose at this point. Kovalkiewicz stays out again, too. Petrovic right now sitting down in the third spot. Draco up to fourth. Lundqvist in fifth at the moment as things sit. So things could still shake up yet. Porter Kelly in seventh. Once again, most laps led in this race, but will not be the race winner without a miracle. Takani in eighth. Michelin in ninth. Ishibashi in 10th as things sit. Porter now in 12th, having been passed by Thomas Rogers, with Kobayashi next up to bat. Wyatt Jones down pit lane will end up once again behind to 81. Mike Jones in 14th place now. Again, the question right now that sits is, can Kovalkiewicz go all the way? Having not pit with anybody else in this sequence, would have to assume that the answer to that would be no. Petrovic just tagged the wall hard in the swimming pool section. As Kovalkiewicz comes down pit lane, Petrovic has to make sure that that car makes it to one piece for his best finish in Champ Car. Draco down pit lane as well. And that puts Lundqvist now on the podium. Somehow, some way, with the damage on that 97 car, Lundqvist back on the podium. Lisevich, Petrovic, and Lundqvist now the top three. Alexander in fourth. Battle for position here between Kozlov and Leroux. But that is for 16th. Not only lap, Von Sonen, 4 laps down, really only able to achieve anything as high as 20th at the moment. That's where he's sitting at the moment. Porter Kelly trying to get around Leon. Side by side, through the hairpin, through Portier, and now through the tunnel they go. And the reason why is because Takani's hot on the tail of Porter Kelly, wanting that 6th place spot. Which actually, I think, is going to end up being 5th place. Obviously, with the pit stop there with Draco and Kovalkiewicz. So Porter Kelly looking at a top 5 still. Takani's still looking for a good result right now in 6th. As things sit. I believe everyone trying to get around. That's Leon coming down pit lane, out of the way of Michelin and out of the way of Ishibashi, who are set to gain a spot here. They'll move up to 7th and 8th respectively. It'll be Rogers now in 9th. And it'll be Evangeline Porter back into the top 10, leading the train with Kobayashi, Draco, Jones, and company in tow. "11 laps to go as things sit right now. Kovalkiewicz dropped down to 14th. Then you see there's the 96 of Kovalkiewicz. And everyone trying to find a way around Porter here for the top 10 spot right now. What a fight it's been, though. Look at this fight that's still raging on between Lundqvist and Petrovic. This is for 2nd. And this fight is still on with 10 laps to go. Two drivers fighting to stay, trying to get out of relegation at this point. Fighting for their lives at the moment. And what a fight it's been. Petrovic entered this race 25th in entry points. That's the 21 car with 204 points. Lundqvist, at this rate, will end up out of the bottom 4. She was in the bottom 4 by 2 points on Asher Crane, who will score just 5 points in this race. The big question point at this measure is where the 21 ends up in relation to the 20, who is 25th and only scoring 5 points, and the 76, who is down in 20th place. Remember, 2nd place scores 40 points. It's 35 for 3rd. It may not be the race win, but it may as well be, especially at this stage of the season, because you don't know how many of these results you're going to get. Another tag of the wall there for Petrovic. He is really driving the wheels off that 21. And for most of his career so far in Champ Car, he has not had a shining or defining moment. Even through the mistakes and the overdriving, this has been a defining moment for the Serbian driver. One that he has sorely needed as he tries not only to get that 21 out of relegation and keep the team in the World Series, but also to keep his seat. There needs to be that glimmer of hope for Petrovic. That silver lining for the team and its supporters to hold on to at this point. Because it has not been easy. It has not been fun. These are the moments that Monaco can provide when you have a driver with nothing to lose holding on for dear life for what feels like forever. As the race leader pulls away, Velicevic not under question. As caution comes out. Caution comes out. We saw the lights on, and that's Draco. Draco up the hill after Saint Avant. That throws everything under repute. We're going to have a very late race restart. Velicevic's gap is gone. And now what do you do? Do you stay out and hope track position prevails? We've seen so many passes on these restarts that may not be enough. Do you come in and get fresh tires and take that gamble and then run the final 5 laps like it's the last laps of your life? We're going to find out. We are going to find out. Folks, this is the Tag Heuer Grand Prix of Monaco, the first Monaco Grand Prix in the Champ Car World Series, the first Monaco Grand Prix in the IndyCar World Championship era. And we're going to have a late race restart to figure this all out. Velicevic's best friend right now is that 34 car, Mia Valdez, just behind. We know the roadblock that 34 has been all race long, wounded, but carrying on, now in the 18th position, 2 laps down. For Andrew Draco and that Phantom Motors team, after building so much momentum here in Europe, to have it just knocked down here in Monaco. Catherine Hart out after an accident. Andrew Draco being left stricken after turn 1. It is a gut punch. We're going to find out who's made of what. What decisions did the field make? You would imagine if you're at the front of the field, you gamble and you stay out. You stay out knowing that track position is so important, and it takes time for these Firestone tires to warm up. And it gives you the chance to break away. If you're someone like Lundqvist, you're hoping everyone stays out, because you have a really good shot to pin Petrovic behind Valdez, who we know's off pace, and grab second place. As much as Lundqvist would love a race win, the focus is on getting that 97 car out of the bottom 4. You're competing with the 21 to do that. It is a 6-horse fight at the bottom of the order to try to stay out of relegation danger. The 97, the 80, the 20, the 76, the 21, and the 28. Hobson right now is 21st. Cannot get any higher. 21st is where Hobson will stay. Zhang scored 25th. Crane scored 26th. Von Sonnen, the 76, scored 20th. Hobson scored in 21st. It is on the 97 and the 21 to make the biggest shakeup at the bottom end of the stick here. Giulietta Cani, also sitting in the top 6 at the moment, sits 20th in owner points at the moment. not in danger, well over a race ahead of the relegation fight, but also looking to cement her status in safety with 6 races to go after today. Meanwhile, on the top end of the stick, it is Porter and Wyatt Jones. They were separated by 1 point going in, and it's going to be close still leaving. And just about everyone stayed out. They're separated by 1 car. Kage Kobayashi. Wyatt Jones obviously was behind Andrew Draco when he came to a slow down and to an eventual stop after St. Devat. So the gap would extend, albeit marginally. It would extend from 1 point to 3. Mia Valdez, not going to be a factor as things sit. BK Glover, not a factor. Finished 23rd after having a brake failure. So a rough day for those in the top 5, because Artyom Kozlov not having a good day either. Really good chance for at least Alexander to break into the top 5. Not so much the case now for Nicole Leckie, who's out with a brake failure as well. Stephanie Porter Kelly will also gain positions in the points. So will Mateus Michelin again. And Sakura Ishibasi has the chance to also close in on the front of the field, albeit marginally. But will still gain some points here in Monaco. 10th entering today ahead of Leon, who was 11th for the 32 car. Catherine Hart will lose points. Thomas Rogers will gain points there. And Andrew Draco will obviously lose some points as well, now a lap down. But running still. We'll see the finish here in Monaco. Vulicevic will lead the field to green with 6 laps to go. Vulicevic, Petrovic, Lundqvist top 3. Valdez in the mix could play spoiler and play roadblock. The 4th restart, the 5th restart underway. And here we go. Petrovic got to the outside of Valdez. That's what he needed. Lundqvist was not hot on the shot. And it showed. Side by side, they are tangling big time here. Remember, Kozlov and Leroux battling for position. They are battling for 15th. They are a lap down, but battling still. Porter Kelly trying to get clear of Kozlov will do so. And that's trying to really kind of just break away from Takani. What do you do if you're Lundqvist? Do you take a chance into the chicane? Not this time for Lundqvist. I think Lundqvist has, kind of accepted that there's an issue getting back to Petrovic at this point. Porter Kelly gets around Alexander. That is for 4th. But the Starker Motorsports teammates sticking together here, 4th and 5th. With Takani sitting in 6th. Lundqvist trying to measure this out. At this point, just try to secure the podium, if at all possible. Approaching Valdez towards St. Devat. Not this time, once again. Has to be very picky here, but also know one of the most aggressive drivers in the field right now is right there on the gearbox. Up the hill, towards the casino. Down the hill now towards Mirabeau. And again, Lundqvist looks, approaching the hotel hairpin. Door was open. Look at the 95 Takani. Got around Kozlov there. So Takani also in the mix, trying to see if she can poach a top 5 away from Alexander. They are one mistake away from trouble. Lundqvist still can't get around the 34 of Valdez. Now sitting pretty well fermented in 3rd place at this point with how long she's been in that position. Once again, peeks to the inside. Nothing going there. Now approaching the swimming pool. with Porter-Kelly in pursuit. Alexander and Takani set to battle it out for 5th place, just behind. Porter ahead of Rogers. This is 8th place for Porter. Porter got some really good spots out of that. That'll extend the gap in the championship a little bit more. Not that it's going to be very much, given that it's Night City in the very chaotic Arasaka Arena in 2 weeks' time. But it's anything at this point. Lundqvist did get around Valdez. That was in Saint Devat. Now it's the Striker Motorsports duo that have to try to find a way around the Brazilian Valdez. Porter looks to the inside there. Through Mirabeau, now towards the hotel hairpin. Really close. Door staying open. But nothing doing that time for Porter-Kelly. Here comes Porter-Kelly through the tunnel. Got to it. Got to the apex there. Apex there for Porter-Kelly. Porter-Kelly gets clear and good. That's 4th place. Alexander in 5th. Takani 6th. Lap traffic around them. Michelin in 7th. So Striker Motorsports looking to have a fantastic day here in Monaco, being led by their former Monaco Grand Prix race winner in 4th. Three laps to go. And right now there is no stopping Natalia Velicevic with 3 laps to go. Velicevic on top of the world as things sit. Would have never dreamed of being able to make it to race in Monaco, let alone be leading with less than 6 miles in hand. Meanwhile, for Marcus Petrovic, same as that situation. In the 96-year history of the Grand Prix of Monaco, never has a Balkan country been on the podium. Porter-Kelly races under the Bosnian flag in Champ Car, races under the American flag in F1. Holds dual nationality. Not the case for Velicevic and for Petrovic. Slovenian and Serbian. Sitting 1-2, a super Swede. Swedish driver Siri Lundqvist in 3rd. Two laps to go. And they are ready to play the Slovenian anthem with how things are sitting. Velicevic coasting, taking it easy. It is just about keeping the car in one piece. 5 seconds the gap for Velicevic. One and a half laps to go now as Velicevic goes through Portier. And what a fight it's been. Velicevic will end up with 24 laps led as things sit right now. Lundqvist in 3rd, trying to close in on Petrovic. It may not be enough as things sit. Petrovic at 131.4 though. Lundqvist 130.0. Second and a half gap. It may give pause for one lunge at it. Velicevic though, untouchable at this stanza. Through Raskas and Anthony Noak. To capture the white flag, 1 lap to go, presented by PNC Bank. This will be Velicevic's 3rd career win. She won in an oval last year at Homestead, Miami. This time, This will be your second race win, both of them on road courses. One at Denver Motorsports Park earlier this year. None of them will have the magnitude as a win here in Monte Carlo. Some of the greatest drivers that have ever existed have their names etched in stone here in the Principality. 96 years of history. Only 2 races in the world are older. The 24 Hours of Le Mans by 6 years. And the Indianapolis 500 by over 2 decades. It is the gold standard of Grand Prix races in Europe. Going around the swimming pool for the last time. Natalia Vulesovic can see the fans, can see the roar of applause and the approval from those in Monaco around the last corner for the final time. Natalia Vulesovic is a Monaco Grand Prix winner. She wins in Monte Carlo. And keep the roar of applause going. Marcus Petrovich holds on. His first career podium is his biggest podium. Second place for the Serbian in Monaco, Siri Lundqvist. 4 years in Formula One, could only manage 5th. She's on the podium now. Lundqvist, 3rd at Monaco, on the podium. Stephanie Porter-Kelly in 4th. Striker Motorsports 4th and 5th, with Elise Alexander in 5th. Juliette Takani held on for 6th. Matthias Michelin in 7th. Ishibashi in 8th. Evangeline Porter held on to 9th ahead of Thomas Rogers. Kaika Kobayashi and Wyatt Jones top 12. Andrew Draco ended up 18th there, a lap down. Alicia Kovalkiewicz 13th. Cameron Jackson 14th. Jackson, the last of those on the lead lap. Artem Kozlov, the first a lap down in 15th over Leroux, Valdez, Draco, Leon, Von Sonnen, and Hobson, your top 21. Lechty, Glover, Hart, Zhang, and Crane, your retirements from this race. It is all about Natalia Vulesovic, the first driver from the nation of Slovenia to win in the Monte Carlo street circuit. The first driver from the Balkans to fly a Balkan flag at the top step of a podium in Monaco. The emotions are extremely high, and why wouldn't they be at this point? Vulesovic is a winner in Monte Carlo as the field comes round to Parc Fermé in pit lane. A marathon race here, over 2 hours and 15 minutes of racing here in Monaco. The battle scars, the war wounds, apparent on most of the cars here. It is Natalia Vulesovic, though, that is victorious. Marcus Petrovich and Siri Lundqvist, their relegation fight got a huge boost here today. The IndyCar World Championship era is here in Monaco, and that was a triumphant first step. We get to see you again in 2 weeks' time for the Arasaka 225 in Night City at the Arasaka Arena. We get to go bull ring racing with 800 horsepower cars with 6 races to go in the AT&T Champ Car World Series season. We hope to see you then. Until next time, from everyone here at ABN, from the Principality of Monaco, on behalf of Champ Car and the Horizon Corporation, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time in California. Until next time, stay healthy. We'll see you in the City of Dreams. So long, everybody.